OnCor has some layers that have labels that are turned on by default when you get into the program. For example, these address points, shown as little houses, have the address number located just next to the little house icon. If we want to turn those labels off, maybe because the map is a little busy, in our layer list, we just find the address points layer, and there's a little greater than button that we can click, and that brings us to other options for what we can do with that layer. And you'll see one of these options is to simply toggle these layers labels off. So if I click on that, notice that the address numbers are now gone, and I can click them back and they come right back again. So for right now, I'm going to turn them off, and I'm going to click the X here at the top to return back to my layer list. Now, other layers, for example, our tax parcel boundaries, don't from the get-go have any labels that are turned on or designated. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to find tax parcels again in our layer list, click on that greater than little button, and rather than toggle on and off, what we first have to do is to customize our labels. So we're going to click that option. And notice that our show labels is turned off. We'll go ahead and turn that on. But the first thing we need to do before we click out of here is to click customize, because we need to tell OnCor, what do we want to use for labeling. And you can see here there's a list of all the different fields, and there's a lot of them for the tax parcels that we could use for labeling these tax parcel boundaries. So we can pick anything from the list. We can go ahead and say, well, let's look at the full market value. And we'll click on that, and we may want to change the color. The default of black with the air photo may not show up so well. So I'm going to move this over to more of a yellowish color and pick that from the spectrum. And if you want, you can change the font size. This may be a little big, so maybe we'll turn this down a little bit. You can either type a number or use that slider. And when we're all set, we can click apply and see how that looks. And that's not too bad. The font looks like it's big enough to read, but it's not spilling over the boundaries. And now we're going to click done, and that brings us back. And again, if I want to turn these off, I just simply toggle that option on and off, and I'll click OK. Now, one thing to be aware of with the labels that are custom labels is that as I zoom the map out, notice that the labels are a static size, and as I zoom out, the map's getting fairly messy. So you may have to play around with that font setting, or just simply toggle those labels on and off depending on how much your map is zoomed in or out.